Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Last we left off, there were some eventful things going on between members of the coterie, the Dead Man's Hand. Shriek had ventured off on his own to follow a rival, a venture by the name of Jade Kaufman, who has made it abundantly clear that she has no love for the Nosferatu. Or this particular Nosferatu, anyway. There's some things in her past that she thinks that Shriek is responsible for, but she can't prove. So she bides her time. Well, as much as she bides her time in a home that Shriek you found maybe in jeopardy. Kane and Alex made their way through the domain, investigating some things, only to find themselves confronted with a knife into Kane's forehead. Kane, after a bit of a brief chase of this person, was able to subdue them. Only he subdued them a little too well, with a bit of a overwhelming urge to just crush a windpipe. Kane found himself with a body on his hands, and a panel van scurrying off into the distance of the city. So why don't we start with some thoughts on these events before we follow up on what Anna's been up to. So, Alex, what are your thoughts kind of going into this?
Truthfully, I'm borderline panic at this point. The idea that we may have been caught by one of the most infamously dangerous groups of humans for kindred in the world. Same group that has caused problems for cities nearby to this in very recent years. The boogeyman that we've been told about ever since the day that we were turned. The day that we died. The day that humans, when they are gathered together with an idea, are as dangerous as any individual kindred. Our weakness is in the fact that we politic, we scheme, we gather together. We're social creatures. And yet, while that is a strength, it is something that's targetable. If they follow anything to do with myself or with Kane, back to any kindred that we have contact with, there could be the entire cities. So I am absolutely terrified. Terrified by the fact that I'm at the center of this. At least now. That one decision, the decision to walk up to a black van, might have led to more information getting out there than I could have possibly imagined. This could have turned into a masquerade parade. That one man had a microphone sewn into his, and that terrifies. So before they can gather, I need to let somebody know. And that somebody is going to be Shriek, because he can do things under the radar. Although he'll never let me hear the end of it. Problem.
Problem indeed. Kane, you got up close and personal with this runaway little rat.
Yes, I'm used to running problems head on. I don't know since how this turned out. This is all new to me. I don't honestly know how to deal with it. I've always done things head on. There's always been a need for that. It always made things simple. But this is complicated. It just... I have to figure out what to do.
There's a lot to do in that regard. A lot to think about. A lot to try and accomplish. Because who knows what that guy may have said before you killed him. But another creature in the night that has things that they're doing, Shriek. You had a confrontation, well, one would call maybe a bit of word back and forth, a bit of a confrontation between yourself and Jade.
Well, I guess you can end up calling it that. It does end up making me wonder when it is that she'll eventually have to end up coming around, but good luck letting a kindred let go of their grudges. That's fine. It's all about the angles. It's all about the wonderful little tidbits that we can end up building up together. I mean, sure, her sire was a goddamn anarch who decided to end up trying to assist Tyler in near the taking of Dallas. Maybe he just got wrapped up in the hype. She seems to end up thinking that I had something to do with it. That's fine. Yeah, everybody's allowed. It gives me a point of interest. But it also gives me a point of interest to, well, look out for her. And probably not in the way most people think. I mean, hell. She wants to end up living it up like as if she's the following in her sire's footsteps, by all means. But right now, she's Camarilla. Right now, for the time being, I am a member of the Primogen Council. So it's best to end up leveraging that while we can. See, we both know that this is a temporary solution, but we can also end up making it work to our advantage. When whoever the fuck ends up deciding to take this place over does, I intend to be out of that fucking worthless apartment that I end up sitting in. Still in a basement apartment, you know. Is this what you expect when you end up becoming the glamorous undead? Certainly not.
Pest infested.
And they don't let me live it down. But then again, that's what the Nosferatu really are. Pest. Doesn't mean we can't be lovable from time to time. Now, I'm just kind of curious on how the hell this is all going to end up wrapping up. It's going to be fabulous, I can assure you of that. Or it's just going to end in one hell of a fireball. Either way, it's entertaining to me.
And then there's Anna. Anna, who's in over her head. Far more than she's ever possibly dreamed of, potentially. If it wasn't for the fact that some of her coterie mates are scaring her bad enough. What else is on your mind, Anna? What other voices are you hearing lately?
One isn't on my mind. I think this is the first night I've spent alone in a while. For a few months, maybe. I've had always, constantly, since moving out here, that it's just been nothing but non-stop. Either floating around Dr. Vale, or this Primogen thing, being around the coterie, being around other kindred. And as much as I wish I could enjoy the break, I really can't settle down about it. I've had to distract myself a bit. I've been focusing on trying to look at any sort of research or background that I could find in that old symbol that I was given. And trying to learn more. I guess rather stay in shape when it comes to what schooling I do have. If you constantly keep your mind busy, supposedly it never goes dull, but I don't know if there's any sort of dulling anymore. Perpetually, just one thing. And the biggest thing that I'm finding is perpetually a threat at the moment. I keep thinking about how I can't find any sort of grounds for trust. How am I supposed to do any of this? How am I supposed to figure anything out when literally the entirety of the city is built to kill me? I guess that's the point. Don't get grounding. Don't find support. I just want to see us crumble. And they can handle everything about Arlington in the way that they want to. They saw best fit. So, I'm sure everyone else has a way to figure it out, but right now I don't really have anything. I'm kind of alone. And for once, I really don't want to be alone.
Almost as if by instinct you find yourself at Dr. Vale's door. It's like you were on autopilot, thinking back for a moment how you got here. It's a little fuzzy, but you're here. It's always been a place of well, perhaps stability, if there's such thing can be made amongst Malkavians.
In a sense. I guess it makes some sense because, for me at least, Dr. Vale was a therapist, psychiatrist. And yet, if it wasn't for her, then this wouldn't happen. And Roman would still be goes ahead and opens the door, knocking very politely at first to see if Dr. Vale is even present in the building.
The door opens. It's easy opens. It's not locked. You open up the door and you do see that she is working away at some papers. Writing something, scribbling. Something to that effect. She sees you briefly. She makes her eye contact with you for a moment before going back to what she was writing. "Come in, darling," she says.
Anna quietly closes the door. And she walks over and sits down on this nice seats in front of the desk. Gently folding, adjusting her dress.
It's a pleasure to see you this evening.
It's good to see you too.
To what do I owe the pleasure? She says as she's closing the notepad that she was writing in.
I guess I just had some questions. A lot of stuff has happened.
A lot has happened, and I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Would you prefer to be more comfortable?
Yes, please.
She kind of motions over to the sort of lounge chair.
The reclining one, you know?
Typical in an office, and she takes her seat in a very high back chair as she kind of leans back in it and gets comfortable herself.
Lately, I mean, this Primogen thing is a lot to take in. And I guess I have a lot of questions and also a lot of complications. But as much as I have those, I guess the big thing right now is how Do you know who you can turn to?
That is a very interesting question. One that isn't easily answered for each individual, but from another individual's point of view. Only you will know how it is that you trust others. But one thing that you can count on, at least amongst the kindred, and then maybe some of the more affluent kind of Kine, is that they're self-interested. Even those who come here, receive my guidance, are self-interested. Even you yourself are self-interested. You come here seeking knowledge. I'm here to bestow it. But it is knowledge to improve your own position, is it not?
That makes sense.
Kindred are solitary creatures, but we must function as a group. To carry on that which is left of our humanity. And create some semblance of a hierarchy. Something that could create order in the chaos.
How do you do that when everyone else is stronger and powerful? What am I supposed to do to create any sort of order?
When you say stronger, do you mean mentally, socially, physically? All of the above? None?
Everything. All of them. They can all do things that I can't even dream of.
And yet
even my co roommates.
And yet you can do things that they couldn't possibly even think is possible.
What can I do? All I've done is go around and talk to essentially the other outcasts. Anyone can do that.
Not just anyone.
I would say so. I know. One of my coterie mates could blow a hole through a semi-truck if he wanted. With his bare fists. One of them, I think, is a witch. Has magic, I guess? I don't know. Then one just talks me in circles. Knows how to find secrets so quick that they just know how to make me so mad.
And yet, you seem to be the one who can put someone at ease.
Only because I'm not seen as a threat. Because I'm not.
Oh, but you are. You underestimate yourself, Anna. The insight of the Malkavian is strong in you. However, that is not your only skill. You have a way with words, a friendliness, an unassuming sort of quality that makes people underestimate you. It didn't take very much for you to convince me that you were the right one for me.
You pulled that out of me. I didn't want to tell you anything. I didn't want to tell you that.
Are you sure about that? Because I simply asked the question. You're the one who gives the answer.
That's not right.
Then tell me what is right, Anna.
What's right? Right now? I don't feel like anything's right. I feel like the only thing that was, I had to shoo away because it was the only safe thing I could do. And I hate that decision. I need help. I want Roman back. I told him to go away because it's dangerous, but I don't want to be without him. I don't know how.
Then don't be. Don't be without him. If he's that important to you, you will keep him close. Close enough that you can keep your eyes on him. 'Cause a little trick is he never has to know that you're there. You could be there without him ever knowing. Or you could always make him forget. To protect him.
Maybe.
Just be careful who knows about him. You trust me, don't you? Otherwise you wouldn't have said anything about him, wouldn't it?
You're the reason he's still alive.
But it's up to you now to protect him. If he's that important to you.
I understand. I want to have somewhere that I can meet him. No one else will see.
And no one has to ever see you walking if you don't want them to. You could disappear from sight and they'll never know the wiser. So if you truly want to hide him from your coterie, you must simply wish it and it will be true. It's some of the miracles of the blood. Works in a lot of different ways for a lot of different kindred. But that is something unique to Malkavians. We can be seen or unseen at our whim and see others who don't want to be seen.
I would have given to have that ability when I was alive.
It is not something the mortals have in abundance. There are some who have slight gifts. Those are usually the ones picked out by the Tremere. Unique talents and all, and, well, they always seem to get the good gifts. But I feel that I lucked out with you.
So, yeah, I keep hearing things.
I do on occasion myself, but you have described things as very, very loud at times. For me, it's only a dull whisper from time to time, and even then.
It doesn't sound like me sometimes. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not used to that. Before it used to be just, an intrusive thought was like just constant negative. The self-talk was constantly just negative in my head, and now it's strange. It's like things like violent, secretive. Not anything that I would think.
The beast is perhaps the most primal parts of us. The need to hunt, the need to stalk, the need to rend and tear, and the thirst, that unquenchable thirst. That's the beast. And we do what we must to keep it at bay. Stay fed. Stay calm. Stay composed. Stay alert.
Understand. So then it's the beast.
It is still a part of you, but yes, the beast. If it helps you to personify it, then do so. But it is still a part of you. Those errant, intrusive thoughts. To hurt. To kill. To maim. All over the slightest of petty things. But I don't think that's the only voices you hear, is it? Because your beast sounds like you. Doesn't it?
The beast feels like me. don't know what these other things are. It feels...
From what
Sometimes it just feels like someone else entered my brain.
And that's entirely possible.
Don't tell me that.
Your connection to our clan. We're all connected. Some more than others. Some have a deeper connection, and others develop that connection over time. You hear them. The voices of kin. Sometimes you hear my voice in your head, do you not? Sometimes when I'm thinking about you very strongly, I wonder if you hear me.
And for just a moment, focuses in on sort of a sense, whatever those voices are, to see if she can actually hear them louder in just this instance.
You focus in, kind of focusing internally in on yourself, focusing on one of those whispers that just kind of floats to you. And as you concentrate on it, it starts to focus. And before you even realize it, you're hearing a single word. Your name, Anna.
I think I heard it. Did you do that?
Was it my voice you heard?
I think it sounded like...
Good. Because I was thinking of you in the moment.
It's weird. I was really, really worried.
About
Because
what?
I thought I was just... I thought I was doing everything wrong.
You're never truly alone. Even though for me they're never louder than a whoosh of air. I know that I'm not alone. And you've confirmed it for me.
I'm not alone.
I'm curious just how many you're connected to. And how being here maybe has amplified that in you, because I sensed it back home, but it's gotten stronger here, hasn't it?
I've been able to see rather... It's like ripples and waves surround people like you and me. That's what happened the last time I was in the museum. I just walked to them. Is that what this means?
Means you're special. You are very special amongst our kin. And that's very special to me.
I hope I don't miss it.
I think you'll find a use for it. You'll learn to filter out what is and isn't important for you in the moment. And perhaps there's a wealth of knowledge that you might be able to tap into that others can't.
I hope so.
We call it the cobweb. And you just hear tiny little voices in your mind just saying cobweb over and over.
I'm not alone. Thank you, Dr. Vale.
Were there any other questions you had?
Not right now.
Well, hopefully it gives you some enlightenment. 'Cause I'd heard stories, but I don't think I've ever met someone who's had such a strong connection like you.
I appreciate everything, Dr. Vale. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I'm glad to hear it.
The dawn will be here soon. You should probably get home.
Will do. And Anna stands up from the seat, adjusts herself. She makes her final goodbyes and lightly leaves. She's clutching her chest the whole way home, essentially. The giddiness. Repeating like a mantra. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Never alone. Never alone. Not ever again.
She smiles to herself before returning to the apartment. She's taken as her residence at this time and prepares for day sleep.
As that's going on, a few other members of the coterie are making their way back to meet up, as it were.
Kane would have probably insisted that they meet up at the old abandoned house.
The old abandoned house. The old Primogen's house. Primogen Brucado's old house. It's more or less empty. There's no real... nothing else here of note to speak of anymore. As, it's kind of been cleared out. But... you three meet up at this place. Shriek and Kane and Alexandra. I figure Anna's got something else she's got going on at the moment. Which is fine. Let the babies do what the baby's gonna do.
Kane seems to be finishing up a text on an unknown phone.
Meet Shriek.
What is Freak, yeah. I was thinking about Kane.
I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
what am I doing now? This is interesting.
You texting on a phone? That's unheard of for a
Yeah.
Lasombra.
Don't do that. What he's actually doing is he's contacting Mr. Tyrone Faulkner, a lawyer who he has a little bit of history with, arranging a meetup tomorrow night, if at all possible. A series of unfortunate events have occurred, and you appreciate the insight. Plus, checking in on him might be useful. And proceeds to put the device away. Proceeds to end up walking into one of the bare rooms. It sits on the windowsill, looking out into the street. He's almost doing so with a exasperated tone. Like this night couldn't be over quick enough. Hearing the footsteps of the others, he just looks down the hall. Could the thumping get any louder? Perhaps we're trying to end up awakening the ghost of a dead/missing Primogen.
I truly wish that were the case, Shriek.
Don't you now?
Yes, I really do, because maybe she would have some answers for us.
Kane's just going to kind of be pacing in between the two and just kind of... He looks grumpy and angry.
I think I know what happened to our dear Primogen.
Well, there's some fantastic news.
Not so fantastic.
Oh. So, want to speak with Gerard tonight. As a little, thin blood or, caitiff, he wasn't quite sure. Who's been seeing black vans driving around her neighborhood?
Black's a fashionable color, dear. And vans aren't exactly out of the ordinary. In fact, if you peek outside, I'm sure you can end up seeing one if you wait a while, preferably before sunset.
Please do not start that with tonight.
Yeah. We
We were
no
leaving
bullshit.
the meeting. We were leaving the meeting with Gerard and happened to spy one of said black fucking vans. Do you happen to know much about the laws of the area, Shriek? Particularly when it comes to vehicles and their license plates?
I'd imagine there's a rest stop between here and the fucking point.
I'm pretty sure the Second Inquisition has their eyes on this area.
Inquisition. Really?
Alex is going to reach into her bag and she's going to pull out the suit and the broken microphone and she's going to throw them in Shriek's face.
Shriek grabs him. What exactly is Shriek looking at?
You're looking at a sort of bodysuit. It's a little. It's completely black. It's kind of made with sort of heavy fabric, but it's lightweight. It's like durable fabric, but it's lightweight enough to be able to move very flexibly in. It's got a full hood and mask. It's got a place for a knife. And then looking through it, you also see that it's got places for other things, like sewn in accoutrement.
I'm going to spend some time picking at it, looking for labels or interesting little tidbits, things that might have a little bit of a trail. Not everybody ends up buying off the rack, and if it's not off the rack, it makes it custom made. It narrows down the potential sources a bit at the very least.
There is no tag. There is no mark.
Dirt or anything, any unusual abrasions, stainings, or anything else that this might have ended up coming into contact with?
Maybe some bloodstains.
A lot of ash.
A lot of ash, kind of mixed in it. It's kind of dusty. Ashy dusty.
How then? So we have hunters. Oh, goody.
Kane, why don't you tell him about your little encounter?
We saw someone on the roof. I snuck into the alleyway, jumped up and was climbing up and caught a knife to the face.
Well,
I chased him.
That explains the looks.
I'm not in the mood, Shriek.
Honey, I can get you all worked up. You don't have to. You just gotta lay there and take it.
He's going to close his eyes and center himself for a second. I ended up catching him, but he was more fragile than I'm used to.
Well, given who left the van last time, I imagine.
We don't know what he said while he was running. That's the problem.
Either way, the van that was watching him took off while I was waiting for Kane to come back.
Anybody get a plate?
Wasn't able to. Was missing the front plate on the bloody thing. And fully black paneled back. Clear front windows. Nobody was in the front when we investigated the van, but who knows? Had an extended antenna on the top.
So they're in communication with each other. Okay. Well, fantastic. If somebody's in communication, means that can be intercepted. Gives you a chance to end up keeping ahead of the ball game. I'd almost say that would be good work.
Texas law states that vehicles must have a plate on the front and the back to be legal.
So we're currently dealing with a group that doesn't understand the place that they stepped in at. To the point where they
Either
don't
that,
know the kind laws.
Either that or they're government sanctioned. take your pick. They're also obviously technologically capable, considering they had all that.
What, a fancy tailor who happened to end up knowing something?
No. Stuff that
Microphone
is
in the suit.
small enough to be hidden like that is not cheap. Or just off the rack and common.
Hmm. I appreciate the fact you're informing me of all this. This is fascinating to end up listening to. But is there something else?
There's a potential now that Kane and I know.
Oh, oh.
If you
Well,
couldn't put that together, you're not as smart as I thought.
no, I just figured that it was a case of that you might end up having a worry or two that was actually relevant. Oh, okay. No, it's gonna.
This isn't relevant.
We're a bunch of fledglings and neonates cobbled together to end up putting into a position of power for a shit show to arrive that's going to end up causing us to be hurled under the bus. As far as the rest of the Primogen are concerned, the fewer hands on the title, the better. But they don't want to end up leaving it completely to incompetency. So for them, it's just a way to weed out the weak.
Okay. So, what do we do about this?
Well, first and foremost, you can always end up going into torpor for a little while. Look, human beings only live for what now? 80 years from the start of their lifespan. You end up taking a nice half-century sabbatical and pop up new and improved. And by that point, they'll have moved on to bigger pastures. Don't worry. I'll take care of the place while you're gone.
Any other options that you can think of?
Well, if the Second Inquisition is in town, it is upon us to inform the rest of the Camarilla to bring forth the evidence going through, so it's going to end up requiring us to bring what we have and safeguarded information following the remains of the Second Inquisition. And why it is that they're in our domain is of great consequence. Plus side, we end up currently having a scourge that wants to blow off some steam. So really it's problem A and problem B. Get them together, get a little bit of a wine and dine situation, and they'll sort themselves out.
That sounds like a plan. All right.
Besides, if you're really that concerned, you just need to figure out what do they know.
Nothing for sure yet.
Well, there you go. They know your faces. Wow.
Assuming.
You two were... Okay, so we're assuming by an air of caution. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
All right. So, very first thing. Who here knows anything about false identification?
Do I know
Anybody?
anything, Coffee?
Well, that, my dear, to understand things about false identities, that would be... I'm going to call that an intelligence larceny? Or an intelligence streetwise.
Oh, I will happily use the streetwise. Oh, I just realized I have a black market specialty.
That would apply. So go ahead and roll an extra dice. Ooh, total of 5. You know a thing or two about a thing or two. You forged a passport. Pretty
Or had one forged.
or know somebody who does forge them, and it was a pretty solid one too. It's pretty good quality if you do say so. Helps to know a guy, but you do know that that's often something that you would do in the case of a kindred to forge who they are, why they're traveling, who they're traveling with, yada yada yada. Papers can be forged. It's just a matter of price. And knowing the right people to be able to get you the right documents, get you the right forging, and it can be a whole mess sometimes. Simple fake ID. You call a guy. If you're wanting to fake a passport and travel plans and the whole 9 yards, well, that requires a whole lot more.
I know a little bit, not a lot.
Okay, fantastic. So what this is going to end up requiring is first and foremost for you guys to end up doing something that I'm curious if anyone's actually capable of, which is living outside of the moment. Thinking ahead a little bit. Well, thinking in general, but we'll take it one step at a time, one direction at a time. At this point, you end up putting aside a few different things. Just a little bit of a history, a little bit of an identity that you end up building up. Separate birth certificate, passport, driver's license. Get a new do. Be a new you. And you can end up managing to end up finding all kinds of ways to end up burying things. It also helps when you end up deciding to interlace that with a very interesting history. It's something that makes people end up asking all kinds of questions, but keeps leading them to dead ends or contradictory information. You see, they'll run themselves ragged, but it means that they're looking over here and not over here. Anyway, that's something I would end up suggesting to just get the wheels rolling on that just in case.
Fair point.
Because
Well, I probably know a guy.
I'm sure you do.
If I'm going to make my name disappear, it's going to be a little complicated.
Oh, what? Afraid to end up losing your sweaty workshop?
At least I have something worth losing.
Wouldn't call it worth losing. A bunch of losers end up claiming altogether, end up deciding to showcase just how tough they are. All muscle, no brains, no direction. And trying to end up claiming that they end up having something. It's pretty pathetic. But hey, it's what you have.
Is
So
Shriek
hang
within
on.
arm's reach of me?
Probably.
He is. I would like you to make a difficulty 2 frenzy check, my friend.
Well, either way, something's going to happen.
Are you just gonna ride with it?
No.
Then I
Go
need
ahead.
you to roll me a frenzy check before you lose your hammer. It's whether or not this is going to be a controlled swipe or this is going to be an uncontrolled swipe.
I feel like Shriek is about to get put through a wall.
You can safely put Shrink through a wall at your own pace. It is not at the beast pace.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like the second time tonight that Shriek gets put through a wall?
Yeah. I'm going to... Because I'm going to make sure this hits.
Yep, strength brawl.
I'm going to, yeah. Let's see.
Shriek, what are you doing in
Well,
response? You've poked the bear. Anything? Because you can either dodge it or tank it.
I'm gonna see on what his roll is first.
Hmm.
I guess it's a combat, like I have to. I'm gonna forego my roll. Frick's too busy here flapping his gab. He
Okay.
hasn't done anything beforehand, so I will forego it. I will take on all the damage.
Okay, so no dodge roll, no tank roll. He is.
And he already claimed he was going to do willpower, so.
no, I'm not willpowering. I was debating on if I'm going to grab potent or not,
So far,
but I
it's
decided against it.
5. So 5 half to 3.
I'm not putting him through the. I'm not
Four.
putting him through the wall. I'm grabbing him by the throat and lifting him up off the ground and putting his back to the wall. I'm not intending damage yet.
Okay, so it's grapple. There's no damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's no damage. Oh.
Not yet.
Okay.
No, but you can feel that grip around your throat, Shriek, and you know that he could snap your neck like a twig if he gives it a little bit more effort. You are certain of that. Those big, meaty mitts of his simply lift you by your chin off of the ground to his arm's length and height, nearly putting your with the quickness that he did so, nearly putting your head through the ceiling, stopping just short.
You know, this ceiling fan really needs to be dusted.
Let's get one thing straight, Shriek. I've treated you with civility and respect. From now on, you will do the same to me. Or you will not have a jaw to flap anymore. Am I making myself perfectly clear?
Got it.
And Kane's going to take a deep breath and simply let go, turn around, and go for a walk. Because he is very close to losing it right now after everything today. And if he loses it, there's nothing that you guys could possibly do to stop him.
Are you okay?
He'll just hold up like a one finger as he's walk up. I need a
Oh
minute.
no, she's saying that to Shriek after he leaves.
Okay.
Kane has
Okay,
walked
I'm
out the
gone.
door to go walk through to go walk the block.
The problem is, Moxie, because I'm looking at you guys on camera and you can't see me, it looks like you're looking directly at me, and that confused me in real life. Sorry.
Perfectly fine. Kane goes to walk the block, leaving Alex and Shriek.
Are you okay?
He lonely ends up coming to his back to his feet after being dropped by Kane. And looking at the door. And looks back to Alex. Best of luck with your second Inquisition problem. This is why I don't work with the coteries anymore.
Because of the arguments?
Because they're dumb. Then they don't know how to end up using their head. And that's the only way to end up getting ahead, is can you end up throwing a fist? Can you throw a temper tantrum? a finesse. Tries to end up pulling himself up like as if he's a reader and intellectual, like as if I'm dealing with some kind of, I don't know, brouhaha. It's all bullshit. You all try and end up pretending in this facade of airs and graces. Reality is, you're all just monsters wanting to tear each other apart. You'll try and end up making friends. I'm sure you'll end up dancing the dance and end up tripping the light fantastic. But reality is that you will end up tearing each other apart every single time. And the reason for that is the same as it ever is. Because in the end, we are predators. And we see ourselves as prey. What pisses Nick Kane off is the same thing that pisses you off. The fact that you end up seeing someone like me, smaller, weaker, not made to end up throwing hands like the big manly man. And reality is that not one of you has a lick of brains about you. You try and follow along. You try and end up making it so that, hey, we're just trying to end up working as a coterie. At least I dispense with the bullshit right away.
Whatever you think. Truly. If that's how you view it, that's how you view it. In the end, though, still just a social. Unfortunately, we do need each other. There are things that you can do that I can't. There are things that he can do that I can't. There are things that I can do that you can't.
Well, you took a knife to the face and took out a member of the Second Inquisition. You should just be happy and right as rain.
You think so?
No. I don't think that for 1 second. But you two do.
I wouldn't have brought it to you if I didn't think.
So what do you
If
actually want, Tremere?
Well, I wanted your opinion, but I guess I wanted your
Right.
thoughts, and I wanted how you would deal with the situation, and I got it. And right now I want to know if you're okay, which I think I've got my answer.
I gave you an option on how I think you can deal with it. I didn't say anything about how I deal with it.
So how would you deal with it?
Thinks about it for a minute. What's the option worth to you? Nosferatu got to keep his secrets after all. If I'm going to give up a few of my aces in the hole, better make sure that I'm getting something in return.
Do I know if Shriek is asking for something in specific with that?
No, he's legitimately asking you to put something on the table.
Probably in the vein of, tell me something I don't know.
Yep.
question for a question.
Quid pro quo. It's the cheapest way to deal with it. You tell me something I don't know, I'll tell you something you don't know. It's pretty simple.
I have a specific thing that I want.
Mm-hmm. And I don't.
Something specific you would. Out of character, I don't know what to offer.
Let's take a look. Let me take a looky-loo. Well, there's plenty that you can tell him about you.
There is. You know what?
But is there something you know about Kane?
No.
Hmm.
Just no. How about something personal?
Make it good.
Do you know anything about blood bonding?
I might know a thing or two of a thing or two.
I have a weakness to it.
Now, how'd you find that out? That's not something you run into too often. That sounds like there's a story behind that little tidbit. And I am going to insight. Are they actually telling the truth on this, or are they giving us bullshit?
Yep.
Presuming a wits insight.
Wits and insight. And then Alex is a charisma and persuasion.
Sorry, my computer's running a bit slow.
Hey, you beat me nevertheless.
She's a little hard to dial in. But that might just be that you really hadn't attempted to really dial her in just yet. But
She
see,
operates like a robot.
maybe a little. But there's no reason to second guess her.
All right. You're on the right track when it comes down to the Second Inquisition. Here's the more important thing. You know how they're here communicating. The first thing I would end up doing is I would end up plotting to end up figuring out who tends to be the loudest of all the kindred in our domain. Try and end up finding, if you have anything, you're well read, I'm sure basic ECM Scrambler might be able to end up coming up with something to jam frequencies at the very least. Then you end up deciding to end up taking out the ones in the van. Clearly you did it the first time, you can do so a second time without the ability for them to call to help, No one knows exactly what's going on until they don't report in. By the time they report in, you should already have the van. The van is going to give you the technology that they're currently using, which a lot of us could end up using to end up figuring out exactly what they're doing. Since they're bringing in vans from out of town, driving around without license plates, they have to end up finding some way to end up circumventing the law in that regard. Who's sending a blind eye? Think about it. Who's turning a blind eye?
Clearly.
So that means you know somebody who knows something. Follow the rabbit trail. Make sure that it's a two-pronged point. You have them chasing you, not being aware that you're chasing them. You would probably also end up taking the time to end up being able to blood bond one of those, a couple of them, bring them on over to the sheriff and have them answer all sorts of fun little questions. You know, the thing you were talking about. You can end up getting them to end up being able to crack. Hell, keep them one around as a ghoul. Hell, if they end up proving to be able to end up handling Kane for about 5 seconds, then they got to be worth something, right? And then you end up having the inside scoop. It gives you enough information to work around with. They're going to be celled, which means you're not going to be able to follow that rabbit trail too far, but you're going to be able to close the loop. You're going to make things a little bit more difficult for them, and because you're making things a little bit more difficult for them, now you have your chance to end up being able to keep your own head. Fact of the matter is you came back with all the clues you could have asked for. And you know their modus operandi. Stop worrying about it. Start figuring out how to use it.
And this is why I brought it to you.
Problem is in order to do that, you need to end up having both Kane and Anna on it. And Kane's not going to do anything like that unless he ends up finding some way to end up, well, cooling his jets. He's not doing it for the greater good, I can assure you of that. Use the fact that he's tied in with a lot of, well, he has a soft spot for a lot of the more unfortunate souls. And abuse that. Remind him that that is who's going to be targeted and left without the help is going to be his wonderful little clique. That'll keep him leashed for the time being. Trickier is Anna. That one. Well, I hope you already figured out that problem. Because if you haven't, there's going to be a whole lot of problems.
You've given me a starting point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shriek.
He seems a little confused on that. Takes him a minute before he kind of looks back at the window. Goes back to sitting on the windowsill. And looks out. Like he's searching for something in the city. You know, the hard part about this whole thing. You say that like as if we're gonna get attachments. I appreciate the formality, but let's be real here. You're disgusted by me like everybody else.
I won't deny that.
Of course.
But like mold, you grow on me.
He jumps up from the sill. Gets right in your face, fangs out. compare me to that again.
Understood.
I didn't ask for any of this, and I didn't ask to end up being a part of this coterie any more than anybody else did. I'm just trying to end up figuring out the angles to end up making it work. And right now, there isn't a whole lot to work with.
Interesting.
What's so fucking interesting, huh? What's so fucking interesting?
There's not a lot to making it work. Perhaps you should look at it from a different angle.
There ain't much of an angle to end up working with, sweetheart. It just ends up tending to trend to us being fucked. And I don't have the energy nor the spoons to end up dealing with me trying to end up figuring out how the hell to end up balancing all the goddamn scales for all three of you.
And that's fine. But perhaps, instead of trying to balance all three of us, you should look at one or two and figure out how you can use them to work with the rest.
Already have. Problem.
Problem?
I don't trust any one of you here fuckers any more than you trust me. And I certainly will make inroads where it's necessary. But who's going to end up speaking at the Primogen meeting? You?
If I have to. And there it is. You don't like that I said that.
No. Works out just perfectly for me. Because that's what Shriek is, right? A sudden break from the silence. Just be a good boy, Shriek. Stay in the corner and up here staying nice and quiet. Watch and listen, get it all in perspective. Frame it just right.
Quiet's not what you do. I'm not stupid enough to assume that.
Been doing it for quite a few years now. Our little encounters might tell you one thing. But he pulls out a card. It's not somebody you know. But he kind of just flicks it around. Enough that you know that something's written on it, but probably not fast enough to be able to catch the information. And slips it back in. I know how to contact people who are very close to everybody in this little get-together. I take care of them. And I do so without asking for anything. I don't. I look after what we have. And I don't boast about it. I don't let you know what I know. Because if you knew what was there, what was really there, you fuckers wouldn't have a second thought about using it against each other. Leverage. Because that's what kindred do. I just found a way to level the board.
All right.
You know me as a loudmouth, Alexandra. But I know this city better than any one of you. And I know how it eats you.
You think it eats?
It already started. It's
Okay.
not until the end. The only thing left is the screaming.
You know, I admire this about you. I just hope your threats don't get you in trouble.
Toodles.
Have a good night.
And with that, the coterie disperses, going to day sleep. And that is where we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, a new night will fall in the city, this metropolitan area of Dallas-Fort Worth, where Dead Man's Hand has been summoned to a meeting. So we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. A new night has come upon our coterie. A first thing meeting. First thing of the evening that most will get attend to this evening. This is the meeting of the Primogen Council. But first, we must find out if our vampires are much hungrier than they were the night before, so rouse checks, everyone. Anna's thankfully the same as she was. Shriek that beast of yours. And Alex, same as last night. Same as you left it. So, the Primogen Council, made up of 9 Primogen and the Prince, typically. Otherwise, one of those 9 Primogen is filled in the position of 4 different individuals in this case, the Dead Man's Hand coterie. Primarily, the meeting is about logistics, finances, the moving of goods from one place to another, the sale and trade between Primogen of the different things that they have available to themselves. A check-in of sorts of information that is possibly above a lot of your heads, or is said in such code that even you can't decipher it. A quiet has befallen all of you, I'm sure, as this is more of a tutorial for you on how Primogen tend to work with the prince to make the Dallas-Fort Worth area a haven for the Camarilla, a beacon in Texas as to the pride and joy of the Ivory Tower. In reality, it's a lot of working on timetables, schedules, time frames, things happening at this time, at that time, on this date, on that date. So many numbers just floating in the air as you all listen. Is there anything that you, Dead Man's Hand, would like to present to the Primogen Council as an update to your fellow Primogen?
Well, at this exact time, when given permission to end up having the floor opened up, there is a concern of ours that had dropped near our doorstep. Given we were given no forewarning about it, we can only hope that the others are informed and we're simply waiting to him speaking in turn. There's been a series of unfortunate events. The gestures for Alexandra to end up bringing the aforementioned items earlier thrown at him last evening.
She does so, placing them on the table.
Yes, you all are sitting around a table. The prince at the head of said table, kind of sitting relaxed in his chair. The rest of the Primogen sort of look at this sort of black sort of cloth mask that you throw on the table that kind of poofs out at a bit of an ashy in an ashy sort of cloud that seems to have poofed out of it as you throw it there.
Oh, she just puts it on the table. She doesn't throw it.
Oh, put it.
There's a bit of respect in the way that she does it. It's neat and tidy, and she puts it on the table for them to see.
You see that Mr. Sanchez sort of looks over at the mass of cloth and looks over at you all. What is this?
That is what was recovered from a attack that we ended up proceeding in our own neck of the woods. Sad truth of it is that came from a kind. More specifically, ones that seem to be in operation with each other. Black vans and whatnot. Now, I am led to believe that this is not the only incident. It may have happened in others' domains. But we have a situation that has, for the most part, been handled. We're investigating further. However, it did end up costing one of our own. He puts his fingers in the ash and rubs it a bit.
One of your own. The prince speaks up.
One who ends up residing within the domain. They are under our care as acting Primogen to my understanding, dearest prince.
The utmost condolences, the prince says.
It is a loss, as any kindred of the Camarilla being lost it would be. But, to more important matters, they are organized. And they seem to have a knowledge that should not be known. We're currently beginning our investigations, and Alexandra has wished to end up speaking about the incident further as a first-hand account of this particular encounter.
You get nods from across the table.
He gestures. Miss Jenkins of Tremere fame.
Thank you. It seems that persons, kind, were in contact via microphone and also riding around within black. They seemed ill-equipped, however. They threw a knife at Kane when he confronted.
You see that Primogen Swenson kind of gives a bit of a chuckle, as it should. No mere knife is going to take down a La Sombra.
Certainly not, Primogen Swenson. However, I am under the impression that they are, at this point, seeking out locations of interest. I am sure a prince would be grateful to be told of such encounters in the city, as with the rest of you all. The license plate couldn't be found, but an interesting point of note was they are clearly from out of town, as license plate on the front of it was removed, allowing them to, but still moving about and operating. I'm sure this deeply troubles the lot of you, as it does me.
You get nods across the table. Where do you suspect they hail from, then? You hear Father Gregory say.
Right away, given the nature of the room, I would like to figure out or ascertain who might have the strongest ties. I'm sure everybody has a ghoul or a blood-bonded agent somewhere in the local police, but I'm curious who might have, in this room, have the most influence in that department.
Most police influence. All right. That's going to be an... Now, you've not really met many of the Primogen, except for once.
It would be going solely off of reputation.
Solely off of reputation and rumor. So, that's going to be a... Let's make it easy. Intelligence and politics. See how much
I am
rumor
spending
you
willpower
know.
on that. That's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Yep, Garrett dice is already beginning.
Uh-oh.
2.
Spam them if you got them.
2 out of 10 dice.
Ooh, yikers. Yeah. That is not a... that is not great odds for Shriek, sadly. But... You're not entirely sure, Shriek. And you think that that's intentional. That most would keep that rather close to their chest, or they have a lot of proxies. So it's really hard to know amongst the Primogen, based out of rumor, who might actually have the strongest influence. You get this distinct sense Based on other rumors you know, though, that there is a heavy influence in the black market in the La Sombra. Maybe that's a clue to figure out who might have police influence?
Of course, this would imply local law enforcement to have a certain bias or maybe turning a blind eye. I have no doubt amongst this prestigious court that many of you may end up having a ability to be informed. I would suggest, humbly, my prince, that each seek out their own knowledge and ascertain if, in fact, such a pillar of the Dallas community is compromised, if that is the case. No need to jump to conclusions, but I believe a certain caution is warranted, if I may say so.
Your opinion and your thoughts on the matter are noted.
You honor me, Prince Warzi.
It's about then that you see that Primogen Sabina kind of looks a little uneasy in her chair. Isn't this sort of a concerning factor given rumors we've heard from other cities? My prince. Rumors which have, in some cases, been substantiated and in other cases have been falsified. There's very little to go on based on other cities. It is important that we keep our eyes focused on our own and do what we can to oust this threat. Dead Man's Hand. As you have stated, you are seeking to investigate this even further. Get to the bottom of it. Root out this cause. Stamp it out if you must.
We are ever at the disposal of the Primogen Council and the city of Dallas is a ruling body, my prince. As such, we will end up presuming that this will be an independent investigation as to not put any of the others in risk. That being said, if certain facts come to light, we would love to end up being able to be given permission to visit your respective domains, if only to end up discussing such things. I would like to abide by the rule of domain.
Any such information that you find, bring to the sheriff. He will then investigate further.
As you will, my dear prince.
If that is all.
Yes, of course, my prince.
You were going to say something else.
Fledglings' insolence going further than their bounds. I would cease my tongue now, lest end up going further and disgracing this council.
Then if you feel it must wait, then it shall wait. Adjourned. and the prince, the seneschal, and most of the Primogen Council kind of file out of the room, save for one. Hamza Ibrahim, Primogen of the Banu Hakim of the Camarilla of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, stays behind, kind of looks to you all, gives a bit of a
Primogen Ibrahim. He lowers his head.
Mr. Shriek.
Just Shriek. Mr. Shriek was my father's name.
As if I hadn't heard that one before.
Classics never go out of style.
I suppose not. You're very well spoken, Mr. Shriek.
Inappropriate venues.
And amongst appropriate company.
Such as I have right now. How might we be of service, Primogen?
Well, how was it for your first meeting? And you may be honest. I am here as your tutor.
Oh, the doldrums of an organization as vast as the Camarilla to be seen by the top. It's painfully slow. In fact, I would argue that perhaps our news might have been the most exciting thing to enter this room since the Purge.
Everything has its time. Everything has its function. And the prince's timetable is, well,
Ours to abide by.
yes. I did notice that you were most of the speech going on tonight, whereas Miss Jenkins and Miss Anna and Mr. Kane have all been very silent.
I much prefer to let Treek do the talking. He's quite good at it.
Indeed.
It is also in respect, as I, amongst this coterie, am the eldest, and trying to abide by the lessons of the Camarilla. We honor our elders, and certainly would not accost them due to any perceived slight. His eyes may twitch to a couple in the room who shall remain nameless.
Well, you did very well. I do understand that the doldrums of the Primogen Council will be hard for a group of young neonates to find any excitement over, but it is the day-to-day that we must do in order to make this city run.
Of course. Primogen, might we walk about the property? I find it is more appropriate to do so. Call me paranoid, perhaps a shared Nosferatu trait, but it's best to keep conversations moving so any other listeners may not end up getting the full tale.
Well, if they must walk to keep in stride.
I'm glad you see the age-old wisdom here given to me by my sire in equal measure. He gestures to the door.
And, of course, he gestures to the ladies, for ladies first.
Shriek will leave third.
Thank you very much, Primogen.
Kane will kind of pick up the rear behind all of you.
And as they do, Shriek leans over a little bit, speak with them. How are you holding up, sweetheart?
You didn't hear about this?
Sorry, I actually couldn't hear that.
I didn't hear about this.
There's a lot that ended up transpiring the previous evening. And unfortunately, part of being as distant as you and I are is sometimes we miss things. For more important things, I'm sure. You did phenomenally. Kept it together under pressure. And I told you, I would take the brunt of it.
Anna just, like, forces a smile, basically. She's trying to be polite and, like, good in this situation, but inside her mind is just racing like hamster wheels.
We'll discuss this here soon. Instead, try and enjoy the night air. Otherwise, you're just not unliving.
Right. Okay.
It's about then.
Oh, go ahead.
It's about then that Primogen Abraham's kind of walking up to be in stride with you, Shriek.
The biggest concern at our current point, and I'm more concerned in this regard, is how some things are just so brazenly done without informing the Primogen of the domain. Was the previous Primogen okay with just allowing, well, let come what may in the domain? Is that what was expected of us?
Primogen Brucato was not exactly well liked.
You don't say.
I suppose it might be evident based on the status of the title.
I am shocked and appalled. Truly.
Are you, though?
Yes. You're using such polite language. This is the first I've ever heard of it in these terms. Currently looking over at Alexandra, who is losing their shit.
Alexandra's like got her hand in front of her face, trying her hardest not to fucking laugh because, oh my god, the shit that they've heard about her.
The concern we have is perhaps the Primogen had succumbed to a fate due to the problem we just left on the table. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It has been known to happen from time to time that a hunter will get a bug in their bonnet about something or another, and have
A Primogen.
a Primogen is, well, also amongst the night dwellers, and if caught during the day would succumb to a fate that would be most tragic.
Truly.
But if your investigation is going to be similar into Bricato's disappearance, then I suppose you can busy yourself with that sort of thing.
Well, there is a complication, unfortunately.
As there always is.
Our dear Scourge tried to pay our own section of the court to visit.
As is her
Without
duties.
information, without notifying us, without letting us know what we were missing. While we are losing kindred, we have to keep close ties. And I don't think we can end up affording for our investigation to either be derailed or red herringed, chasing after something that we weren't informed was part of the Scourge's doing, as opposed to the true threat. I'm sure you can see the problem here.
Well, I'll leave it to an Nosferatu to be a very observant participant in all of the things of their own domain.
That may be the case. But at the very least, we shouldn't have ourselves tripping over one another.
No.
And thus, I would hope that you would end up lending the support and at the very least, understanding that our investigation could be impeded if we're not informed properly about any outside interference. At the very
The fact
least,
that you even got involved in that is actually rather surprising. She's normally very quiet. Messy, but quiet.
That was because they were a member of our sanction.
If it is a sanctioned kill, does it even matter?
If it is a sanctioned kill, we would be informed of it. Yes. The prince would announce the blood hunt.
Would you?
As is the sixth tradition. There is also the matter of being concerned of that they are a participant in the domain. As such, they are Camarilla. This is not an outsider we're speaking of. And in order for us to maintain the peace, there has to be an understanding between us and those people who are just, well, the kindred in our little domain who's just want to end up keeping their heads down. They already live in fear. The Wazi's power is beyond question. But I won't have them thinking that they'll be next over nothing. That Camarilla law is maintained within the domain. If we don't have that, what do we have?
Well done.
So I could count on your support should the matter come to parlance within the court, if only for the time being.
That should you need to maybe spell it out a little bit more clearly for me, Mr. Shriek.
So I'm just going to do out of character real quick, because I think the parlance might be...
I'm a little stumbled over the words, yeah.
Okay. So basically what Shriek is basically saying is if the Scourge is coming in to end doing the prince's dirty work, the least they can do is inform us about the hit, so we can end up doing it in case she stumbles over an investigation or anything such. But obviously Shriek is using this as kind of a bargaining chip and is heavily leaning on a very persuasive amount of negotiation skills, probably more than the coterie is used to hearing.
Then I will actually ask you for a charisma persuasion check.
And this is bargaining, correct? You want this second Inquisition out? We're going to need some help in that regard. Just staying out of the way.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Don't Derek dice it on me now.
That's a
7
great,
successes.
that is a great number. That is indeed a crit. That is indeed 7 successes.
I can do something.
Shriek is good at things. It's a pretty decent dice pool, too.
He can be charismatic if he wants to be. Mm-hmm. He's a very forceful personality one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't really give you a verbalized response, but a nod. Perhaps if there are listeners in, he is attempting to save a little bit of face and try not to place some favoritism about his new apprentices.
His newfound position on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
I would, however, be remiss. While I may speak for the coterie as its eldest, I would not rob them of the opportunity of hearing an elder's wisdom. And so I think it would be just absolutely grand if you could taking a moment to understand those that will work alongside me in that regard.
I had intended on answering some questions tonight, if you had any. It was already on my to-do list.
Phenomenal! I love it.
Miss Jenkins, Miss Anna, do you have any questions that you would pose?
Simply as a matter of making sure that I'm on the correct page. Actually, no, never mind. I've lost it.
It seems the cat has got your tongue.
Indeed it does.
Miss Anna.
What did Imogen Ricotta do? What was it that she would report, and what kind of timetables would she be on? Is it the same as ours?
Very similar. Of course, every individual has their own take and their own sort of way about doing things. My way of doing things is not necessarily how I would expect you all to do what it is that you do, to represent the inner workings of your domain and the people within it. I look after the Banu Hakim, as is my clan. And as such, take what it is that they have concerns with, take what it is that they have presented for the prince to present as a way to better this city, and make it all work.
Why is Colette in Arlington?
That is a very interesting question, Miss Anna. She is young, and she must re-earn her place.
She said she was a veteran.
Indeed she is.
What did she lose?
her conviction. It was her conviction that saw to her defeat. And thus, she is now amongst those who must earn their place.
Is that what our domain is? A domain of people trying to earn their place amongst the Camarilla? Or is that simply of the Banu Hakim?
I would say that yes, it does apply to many who fall into the Arlington domain.
Then we will endeavor to do what we must to end up offering such an opportunity. I'm sure it grieves you to know that one of your own is even found in Arlington.
Yes, I hope one day to see her elsewhere again.
He sounds strange about that. I hope to see her elsewhere. What does that even mean?
If you want to know, insight check it.
Yeah.
I will add to this. I will add to this insight check.
All right. Wits insight?
Yep, wits and insight.
Bonk.
Bonk.
3's pretty good for what that was.
I would also like to wits insight.
Okay.
Separately,
Anyone?
I'm presuming?
Yep. Anyone who wants to, separate roll.
I've already added mine to.
It's alright.
To Anna. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of hard to
Alexander.
read. Yeah. He's not exactly an easy one to read, but he doesn't give you anything aside from the way in which he's speaking to have you suspect something else. So you're free to come to your own conclusions. But you have no way of knowing whether he's confirming or denying any of the conclusions you come to.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
That's...
Well, I think I've heard enough for one night, and I'm sure Primogen Ibrahim is very busy. Is there any other questions we should end up asking before we end up saying goodbye?
I have nothing. Thank you for your time, Primogen Ibrahim.
Of course. And if you must know, perhaps you should ask her.
I might. Thank you.
I wish you all a pleasant evening. And he turns and starts to walk down the hallway. His shoes kind of clicking on the tile floor as he walks away.
Anybody
I want to
else?
leave.
I would second that. Primogen Anna.
You get a nod from Kane.
I don't hear any opposition. let us... Oh, how did the elders say it? Oh, exit with the quickness. Oh, no, that post-haste, sorry. I always get them confused.
Yes, I would very much like to abscond from this situation.
That's a good one, abscond. I love the way that sounds, abscond.
Or you could always say the words that the Brits said, adjourned.
He just continues to walk. Like, not even acknowledging Kane's just gonna keep walking.
Kane is also following along. So, Dead Man's Hand, where are you going?
As soon as we're out in a place where I think that we can end up speaking.
You probably all traveled either in the same car or with each other. It's kind of...
Take the vehicle. Sounds appropriate.
It's probably Alex's vehicle since Kane had to, you know.
So, ladies, let's talk about what that just turned into. Round of applause for our little one, Anna.
Indeed.
I didn't do anything.
You just gave us an in, my dear.
Not sure how, but
You showed a vested interest in this Colette character. Banu Hakim, if I picked that up right. Or
That's
am I
right.
wrong? Okay, fantastic. Colette needs to end up finding their nerve. You seem to have at least a vested interest in it. So, I think you here should end up following along with that. Try and bring Colette to a point where she's at least ready to go. And I mean that in a metaphorical sense. We might be able to use a Banu Hakim in our domain, especially with the way things are going to be going pretty soon. That's going to end up putting good favor into Colette, putting her indebted to us a little bit, and it means wherever she goes, we now have a little bit of pull. And it also ends up putting us in the good graces of the Banu Hakim Primogen. Seems to me that what you stumbled upon was a gold mine, my girl.
it's good to hear. She was kind, and... Oh, I was meaning to ask. Anna, she'll actually pull out like a small paper that was, she kind of like scribbled out the image of the symbol that Colette gave her.
Mm-hmm.
Alexandra, you said you know magic.
Yes.
I can't find anything on this, but I'm wondering if maybe you know it. And she'll hand the paper.
She takes the paper and kind of holds it on the steering wheel as she's driving. What exactly am I seeing?
Make me
It's
an
weird.
intelligence and occult.
Rick's gonna look over and I'll add one to it.
Okay.
So, 1?
Yep, +1 for Shriek. Because his eyeballs are on it too.
And just making sure it's got nothing to do with astronomy. Oh no, that would be a science roll. Never mind.
Ooh,
There we go.
that's a spicy 6.
Well, I can help reduce or I can help narrow it down. Anna,
It
would
is
you be a
not
random?
magic.
There's none. It's not magical.
You get the sense that this is actually her personal marking for calling her without a phone.
Oh,
Did you get this from a kindred?
from Colette.
Have you considered that this might be a personal mark?
It hasn't crossed my mind at all. She did say it was a way to get in touch with her. I just didn't necessarily know what that meant.
She passes the piece of paper back.
Takes me.
Keep your eyes peeled for that mark around where she's located. And it's a good way of getting in touch with her. Drop points and the like.
Not all of us stay in the same place. It's a good way to mark territory.
I see.
Think of it as the kindred's ancient art of sexting.
Of course you put it like that.
But I'm not wrong.
Not entirely. And that's awful. But you have a way to contact her. That's fantastic.
That's a few steps then.
Wow. See, Anna, all across wherever you go, if you know what you're looking for, you're going to find that what you're getting is messages all around. Whose territory this is, where they might be at a certain time, who they're looking for, who the hell is my little place is kill on sight, or screw the dog, beware of owner. They're all around you. It's just you gotta know what you're reading. They're usually hidden in like murals, or you ever see like in subways where there's all kinds of paint, spray paints, everybody's tagging it left, right, and center. Well, yeah, a lot of people put their marks down trying to be fancy, but you can hide a few of these in there and you can get certain people's attention.
Saves the use of modern technology.
We hide our images in plain sight.
Coded. Very coded. Right. So, you want me to get close to Colette?
See if there's any way we can help her.
I want to help her.
And in turn, she'll help us. In friendship, just magical.
Guess.
You're doing great, Anna. You're doing great.
I have my own. I have some things I needed to take care of for the rest of the night. Does anyone else need me for anything?
Need? No. Want? Sure, but not need.
What do you want?
He just smiles, leans back into the passenger side behind Alexandra on the wheel, because I try and imagine that because Alexandra's driving across, sitting in the passenger seat would be Anna, leaving Shriek directly behind Alexandra. Because Kane is taking up so much weight on the other side, we had to put the lightest person on that same side. Otherwise, the side of the car would be bottoming out. I imagine this is not a sitting position of priority; it's of necessity. Plus side, yeah, Alexandra, you have never had better traction in this thing in your life.
Right?
This is a little crawly thing. Just kind of skirts across Shriek's nose.
Like, get out of it. Damn it. It's gonna be up there for nights.
Alex just reaches into the center console, pulls out a tissue, and hands it back to him.
Oh, appreciate that.
Moving right along. What are y'all doing tonight?
Well, Gerard was going to drop my name in with a young Miss Gwen. So I'm expecting her to show up at the shop at some point in the next few nights.
Alright.
Gerard may also show up at some point.
Shriek?
I have a date with Tyrone tonight.
You do. That you do. Anna?
Anna's gonna have her weekly scheduled panic attack, and then she's gonna go. She's gonna go stalk Roman, because that's what normal people do.
Okay. Alright.
But Alex makes her plans quite clear for the rest of the coterie.
Gonna go hang out at the shop until somebody shows up?
Yeah. And she also mentions that Gwen is one of the people that has seen these vans stalking her.
Gwen?
Yes. Which I don't think has been mentioned. I don't think that person's been mentioned in front of Shriek, but that is something that...
Alex did mention the previous night, but there was a lot more going on.
Yep.
She says, yeah, that's the young lady that's supposedly either a thin blood or a caitiff. It wasn't made very clear.
So, how does one get in touch with the malformed coat hanger dodger?
Wow. Well, I went through Gerard. And he's sent her, supposedly, to us.
Well, then I look forward to walking in on that one. Still, I got things that gotta end up taking care of. A few personal errands before things going.
Bless you.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Bastard.
Alright. Well, I think that's what we'll do then. Shriek. You were gonna go visit Tyrone. Tell us a little bit about Tyrone.
Well, back in my mortal days, I ended up running across him as he ended up pulling me and my partner out of some tough hot water back in the day. No, not that kind of partner. Please. No. But things got a little sticky and he decided to end up going in. Man's a softie, but very much likes to end up making everything on the up and up. So, given the fact that he's, well, been practicing law for quite some time, one hell of a lawyer, kind of ends up helping in these regards, especially when it comes down to any forms, organizations, that kind of thing. Really ends up making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. He's got a thing for making sure that everything's in appropriate order. It's one of the things I like about him. Doesn't really matter on what ends up happening, just so long as, well, everything is in order. But things aren't in order. I intend to make sure that they are.
All right. And just a little secret between you and me as storyteller and player. Tyrone doesn't know you by Shriek, does he?
No. No, he does not.
What does he call you, Shriek?
David.
All right. And I imagine that, given that you are not a hideous figure, you can get away with meeting in person, can't you?
Well, even if I was hideous, I can make it work. Just like to end up keeping things a little bit in the clear. I end up doing my best to end up putting on, after all, the I wear sunglasses at night meme has not gone away. Helps with the eye thing. As I end up walking in, I end up knocking on the door first to his office before I end up making my presence known.
It has been a long time.
Hey, Big T. How you doing?
What's up, Dave? How you doing?
I take a seat like as if I own the place. I've been better. I've just been dead on my feet this whole time. But came across something, you know how it is, and it didn't sit right with me.
Oh yeah, what is it?
And Shriek's going to pull out a little piece of stuff he got from a mailbox. Though it is Jade Kaufman's, that's not the name on it. Presuming that that's her new mask these nights.
Yeah.
Foreclosure. If financing issue. Against somebody who's, well, been denied a whole bunch of stuff, and, well, not my story to tell. I'm sure that you'll want to end up hearing it. I thought if I found a way to flip the bill for it, you can end up doing so without me being involved.
Aha. So this is a little bit of a hush-hush sort of a situation.
It's delicate. It's one of those situations where if I end up coming out, it buries the lead. And all of a sudden, we end up having everything else spiraling around, as opposed to here's in a head, not a bit of anonymity. And, well, maybe just somebody who might be able to end up helping out because, cross-pollinating cases, I'm sure you'll figure something out. You're really good at it.
I just kind of figured you're bringing me a foreclosure letter for somebody that you care about, and you want to anonymously help them out.
Yeah, let's go with that. Sure.
Plausible deniability.
I love it. I absolutely love it, Tyrone. But
yeah, I can make it work. Yeah, it's just gonna cost a little bit, but yeah, I can make it work.
you tell me what the bill is, and I'll find a way to get it to you.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that that you're good on. You're good to pay for it. And just don't often see you.
Working nights, then shit, a lot of bad situations that just don't get better.
Man, they got you on the beat now.
Please, I haven't worked behind a camera in quite some time.
All right.
But
yeah, that's a shame. You were always really good with the camera.
when you do your job right, nobody knows you did it at all. But no, I get in contact every so often with, Mary. She's
your partner, right? Or am I mistaken something?
Please. Yeah, you think I would be able to end up sleeping with the reporter?
No, you know what I meant, man.
Yeah.
You know what I meant, man. The lady in front of the camera, she was the one you were always cameraing for, right?
We were a crew. You
Yeah,
got us out of that thing a couple years ago, and I wanted to end up making sure that I kept that in mind.
No, yeah. How's she doing?
She's... Ever since the case, things just haven't been the same. It got us legally off the hook, but no one would touch her afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
She's still doing what she can, but last time I checked, it's blog posts and shit like that.
She's working more independently.
She's a waste of goddamn talent. I'm saying it now.
Yeah, it's a shame, because she was good. She's damn good. Damn good.
Welcome to the problem of being the person who helps a celebrity, right?
Yeah, I guess so. As celebrity as local news goes,
Yeah.
It's not national or nothing, but...
Now, what I can do is he pulls out another bit. Here is the information on who's handling her case. And he just pulls out, and it's stuff I can end up using or everything I can get from another or a single point of contact. But that is as much groundwork as I can get you. Hopefully that ends up getting you enough of a head start to find something that just doesn't sit quite right, or, it'd be just a shame if she ended up losing her place, right? She works nights, so your best to end up catching her probably in the PM.
All right. Yeah. I'll give her a call.
Yeah. I swear, I'm starting to just run into everybody who works nights. I'm starting to become a night owl.
I mean, that's typical, I think.
Look, I get it, but...
You're lucky I work nights because of you.
When I was watching the movie Nightcrawler, I didn't expect that was going to be my goddamn life. Behold your future, David.
Well, do what we gotta earn a living, right?
Yeah, you goddamn rights on that one. But of course, the people I'm working with are a bunch of blockheads, and every one of them is... They're goddamn predators, I swear. Every one of them will tear your throat out if you end up giving them half a chance. But you're a lawyer, so, that's a normal thing for you.
Yeah, journalism be like that.
But no, I got this one case. Real skittish. Fish out of water type.
Mm.
You ever watch somebody in a pressure cooker and you're wondering when they're gonna snap?
I think I represented a few people like that.
Yeah, well, if you had to represent her, I'd pity you. I'm trying to end up pulling them out of hot water. Right. It means I'm getting in the way of a lot of shit that I'm really not ready to deal with right now, Big T. And it just... Look, I can play the big brother type if I really wanna.
Why not?
At the time you ended up having that, you had to represent that one kid who stabbed his younger brother. The kid was like 12, the one doing the stabbing, because no one else would take it.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it's kind of that situation where nobody wants to, and this can't end well in any way, shape, or form. But if somebody just lets it go on, God knows how many bodies are going to stack up.
Jeez.
I'm worried, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell to end up helping this person without ending up blowing my goddamn cover.
Man, that's the rub. That's the rub, ain't it?
Yeah, we gotta watch. That's all we do. We watch, we let it roll in, we do our job, and we gotta hope that life ends up giving them a kick. And you try and balance out the scales. I'm trying to figure out how the hell to end up doing that. But render under Caesar. Kids due for a break.
Hey, everybody deserves a break here and there. You gotta pay your due, but, you know, everybody...
Yeah, well, last night, had some guy end up trying to strangle me.
Shit.
This is the kind of shit I'm having to get knee deep into, just to end up hoping that a story will end up breaking out of it.
Wow, I'm glad you're okay.
And I have to end up wearing these at night now because my pretty face ended up getting all mangled up. Just use glasses. And guess what? It's not like I'm in a position where I can just sue them.
Well, look, man, you know that I got you should you need something like that.
I know. Big thing right now, if you want to do me a solid, Big T, he gestures to the paperwork he's presented. Just find a way to end up making this work. Okay, even if you're not the one taking the case, if you can find a legal loophole or something, a write-off, hell, claim the grandma is buried in the backyard. At least at that point, they don't have to pay property tax because it technically qualifies as a cemetery. Then there was some shit like that. I read that in the news. That was a weird one.
Don't have no fear. Tyrone Faulkner is your hero in this moment. You will remain nameless. For Miss...
You look good in capes.
For Miss, Molly? I think that's the name.
Yeah, they got hit hard recently. Can't go into it. I don't suggest you go into it. Treat it as a calm, cool professional and a skeevy lawyer who's just trying to end up getting paid. And the bill's already fronted, so you tell me what the charges are, I'll work something.
It's alright, I got you, man. I know you're good for it.
You beautiful man, you. Well.
Hey, it's too bad you're not my type, right?
I can try and make it that way.
You can only force a square into a round hole only so much before you get tired of it.
True. And you couldn't afford the divorce.
Shame that.
Well, I still remember when you ended up telling me the story on the first night you met. We were so drunk because you ended up having to bail me out of here. I was drunk the night you picked me up. But there she was.
Man.
After a night drinking, you end up looking over, seeing her here for the first time as you were sober, and knew that you would sooner chew your arm off than wake her. I thought you were in love, and you had to tell me, no, I was terrified of the idea of this thing waking up and suddenly shrieking. Shrieking. I still remember that story. It's one that I held very close to my heart.
Yeah, well.
Sorry, Big T. I got a whole bunch of errands to end up going with, but...
Oh, you gotta go already? I don't know, I was thinking we could grab a beer or something.
Wish I could, but I can't stay too long, and if I'm spotted near a lawyer's office from what I'm involved in right now, that's going to end up causing so many complications I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Bro, look, I'm the one in charge of making sure all the red tape is red and taped.
These aren't the types you end up dealing with red tape, but if this breaks out, I think I might have something to get Mary back into where she needs to be. I hope.
Here's hoping. I mean, she's good. She's a good reporter. I think that the news channel is worse without her.
Say that again. Worse without both of us. Anyway, Big T.
You come as a team, of course. Look, Dave. Really though, you need something. Like, something other than what I do professionally. You just let me know, alright?
I got you.
We're buddies, not just business partners. Alright?
When I figure it out, you'll be the first one I call.
Damn straight. Get out of here.
All right, take care. Put a raid check on that beer.
All right. It'll get warm by the time you rain check it. I know you.
Oh, please, just keep it to garage floor temperature. I'll be fine.
All right, you get out of here, you son bitch.
And Freak will make his way out and get ready to start heading on back to church.
All right. You're headed back towards the church. We got another individual who's maybe prowling around looking for somebody that they know. Anna, whereabouts do you think that your good pal Roman would be right now?
Actually, Coffee, I'm gonna have you do Alex's scene first because I'm getting very close to needing to go to bed. So this is not an important scene. Let's just skip to the more important stuff.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I was not prepared. So what are you doing, Alex? You're waiting for Dewey.
Alex was going back to the shop, waiting for either Gwen or Gerard to show up, either or.
Okay.
Because they did, Gerard said he was going to mention it to Gwen and that he might pop in at some point.
All right. No biggie. Just need... All right. Alright, so you are at the shop. probably doing little things here and there. Probably making certain things are straightened, that certain things are in place. When you do hear that chime of the door sort of ring out, it seems to ring very softly.
She moves quietly back to the front counter, probably pulling out one of her decks of cards out from behind the counter to just mess around with it.
And the person that you see there is sort of an average height woman. She's very, very pale though, like near porcelain pale, and her hair is stark white. And from what you can guess, she's definitely missing any and all pigments, as you suspect that she might have albinism. She kind of looks into the shop, kind of looking around a little sheepishly, kind of not sure where she should go next entirely. Just kind of moves over to a shelf and kind of fiddles with something before putting it back on the shelf. Kind of looks over at you.
Good evening.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Maybe. I was instructed that I should swing by if I needed something.
Yes.
Or
When, right?
Yeah, that's me. How'd you know?
Gerard mentioned that you were quite unique looking.
Yeah. No. You had told him that you wanted me to swing by, so here I am.
And I'm glad you're here. Alex is going to gesture for her to follow her out to the back. It's kind of like a storage room for all their undisplayed stock.
Okay.
Pulls up a little seat and gestures for Glenn to take a seat and closes the door.
Thanks. So yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, for starters, my name is Alexandra. I am one of your new primogen in this domain. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure to meet you, Primogen, Alexandra.
Gerard told me that you've had some rather unfortunate incidents with Black Van.
I've noticed them following me around, yeah.
Would you like to tell me more about it?
There's not much more to tell, honestly. It's just, I'd be, minding my own business, going out for, a drink, going out to, hang out with some friends, this and that, whatever it is that people do.
And they seem to just find you.
Yeah. Or at least be just there. Like I wouldn't notice that they had been there for however long, but when I look over, there's a black man sort of in the distance down the street, or across the street from whatever bar we're sitting at, or I don't know. It's hard to explain because they're not always there. They're just sometimes there, and maybe it's me being paranoid.
I don't think it is. Do you use technology by chance?
Not very often. That's frowned upon.
Good. Have you...
I understand the rules.
Have you noticed anything else strange happening around you?
No, it's just weird.
Okay.
Like, I
Do
don't know what they want.
you drive a car?
No, I don't have a car.
So you walk everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes up most of my nights.
Yeah.
I mean, it means I don't have to, pay for gas. Yeah, that's a plus.
Did you have any meetings with previous Primogen?
Not recently, no. Like,
When was the last meeting?
like, the last time that I talked to her in person was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And when did you start noticing these vans?
She thinks about it for a moment. About a month. About a month. From what I can remember. Because more and more lately, thinking back, that's even, that one of those things where you just keep going back in your memory and you kind of just cycle through things. Kind of, what did I do that day? And I have a very good memory for these things. And I remember the first one that I ever saw was about a month and a half ago. Just out of the blue.
Just out of the blue?
I mean, black panel vans aren't uncommon, but you don't see them very often in a residential space.
No, you don't.
And Arlington's a lot of residences.
It is, isn't it? Do you remember if that evening or in the evenings prior, whether you had any meetings with Kindred?
The only Kindred I regularly meet with is Gerard and the boys.
The boys? Boys being...
Danny and Monty. Always attached at the hip. They don't go anywhere without each other.
Yes, I think I know who you're speaking about.
I swear they're like a couple.
And you didn't have any particularly interested humans hanging around you?
Not that I recall, but at the same time, I'm not exactly... Well, I kind of get my drinks by being pretty.
I understand that.
So that isn't exactly a question that can be
it's
relevant.
Not unusual.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, maybe I'm being too open with you about that kind of thing.
It's safe with me, I assure. Now, the reason that I wanted you to come check in with me, myself and one of the other Primogen of this domain, Kane, had a run-in with one of these black vans last evening.
Shit.
So I know for a fact that you're not imagining things. That being said, I assume you understand that being potentially tailed by mortals requires a certain level of being careful.
I am absolutely careful. I promise.
Okay.
I swear to God. Like,
That's all right. Please do not panic. I just want to be sure that you understand this.
yeah, I'm very, very aware. I've kind of been doing this for a while now.
I could understand. If you see anything else, you are welcome to come back here at any time. Same as you if you feel threatened at all by this. You can always come back to me.
That's nice. Is there like some kind of fee?
No, just keep us informed.
Okay.
We are trying to build where Primogen Brucata might have let things slide.
Do you know what happened to her?
I have suspicions, but nothing confirmed.
Got it.
Be careful when.
Yeah.
And now you know my face, you know my name, and I know yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Did you happen to see any on your way here, by the way?
No. No, they weren't
Good.
out tonight.
So I've got a fright list.
Maybe.
I can only hope. Thank you for dropping by.
Yeah. It's least I can do, I guess. Is there anything else you needed?
No. Just, like I said, keep us informed. And you're welcome back in the shop at any time.
All right. Well, we'll see ya.
You have a good evening and stay safe.
She gives a bit of a nod and then goes to leave out the door.
Alex lets her go. Kind of thinks on that for a little bit. A month and a half. It's not long, but it's enough to get a lot of information. She can't remember how long it had been since Primogen Brucata went missing.
Officially?
I don't know if that's...
It's been less.
Yeah.
It's been about a week and a half.
But unofficially.
Unofficially,
Still
who
don't know.
knows?
She might have some questions for Raphael. And that is... Well, she's not looking forward to that conversation. Not in the slightest.
Well, we'll come back to that conversation next week. Because I think we're going to call that session for the night. So, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for hosting.
Of course. I like this game.
I like it too.
Good. I like
Definitely
poking
making me use my head.
I like poking at your brains, and I like poking at your feels.
Yay.
Yay. So,
Woo!
Black Wolf went to go and to say goodnight. But, Raven, if you're still around, if you could kindly start the poll for who is our audience favorite for tonight's session. I don't think there's any stains that we have to issue out, so there's that. But, who recovered some willpower? Did anybody spend any willpower? I know Shriek spent some willpower. Did he recover any for doing some stuff today?
Yes, he did.
Nice.
He got closer. He got closer to it. He never fulfilled his desire, but I think he got a little closer to what he was looking for.
All right. Well, let's talk about some experience then. We do things very similarly to how the lovely Macabre Derek does things in his own games. So, everybody gets one for showing up at the table. Oh.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Also, welcome Zulu Foxtrot for the raid. We're just finishing up here, Mr. Zulu Foxtrot. So, everybody gets one for their coming to the table, and so then we have our roleplay prompts. So, who had moved the plot the furthest?
Alex.
I would have to agree.
Okay.
Well, that's two.
Unanimous.
I was gonna say Shriek, but then it was like they both said Alex, and I was like, oh. I'm outvoted.
You're outvoted. Yep, majority rule. That's how this works.
I just don't want to break the streak. It has always been Alex since this game started.
Ah, yeah. 7 episodes in, and Alex has always been our plot mover. And maybe we're considering her for coterie leader, question mark.
No. God, no.
Or maybe the brains of the operation. You know. We'll find out. We'll see how the rest of this dust settles. Who had our best scene?
I'm gonna say Shriek.
Shriek.
Which one?
I'm gonna say either the conversation with the Primogen or his kind of angry outburst after everything with Kane at Alex. I actually really enjoyed that scene.
I also was going to vote Kane for best scene.
Oh, so there's 2 votes for Kane. So Derek and Anna, or Derek and Spectre, are voting for Kane.
Choke me harder, Daddy.
Oh.
Say the line. I was waiting for it, and I was like,
all right. You know what? 2 votes for Kane, and he's not here to rebut it. So there you go.
You're just putting it on his character sheet right now for him.
Yep, I can do that for him. Who had our best line for today?
It's hard not to give it to Shriek. They're all so good.
What was it that he said in the car that cracked me up? Or even just in the conversation with the Primogen, there was something that also cracked me up. Something about Brucata?
Brucata wasn't very well liked. You don't say!
You don't
the
say!
Primogen?
I am shocked and aghast.
Primogen Abraham did not believe you in the slightest when you said that.
Oh no, Shriek was being fully honest. Not in the fact that she was disliked. This was the most polite thing he's ever heard.
It's the politest way anybody said that they didn't like her.
God damn. It's like, who killed Brucata?
Anybody.
Well, at this point,
anyone.
The only clue you have is the note she left.
For best line, I personally want to vote that moment with Tyrone, where Shriek was monologuing about a story between them, and learning very specifically where Shriek picked up their name. I liked that. I liked it a lot. That's best line for me.
Any other contenders? Well, I don't hear any arguments, so I guess Shriek gets it.
Ah!
But yep, I've already updated Kane's sheet for his experience for today, so I'll be sure to ping him, let him know that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being awesome players and playing along with this random VTM game out here on the TwitchNet. I appreciate you guys coming by to play.
I was very excited for this game, like, all week.
Also, Shriek, you were the audience favorite for tonight, too.
Ooh.
Thank you, Ravenstar, for
Thank you
contributing
all.
4,000 channel points towards that poll today.
Thank you, everybody.
Everybody loves Shriek.
Everybody loves Shriek. He's a little bit of a chaos gremlin.
This is the
He really
closest to
is
Chaos
on a front
Gremlin
foot.
Derek has ever played.
Yep, that's the closest thing. Yes, absolutely. But we appreciate you all out in the internets for coming by and watching. Let's find somebody to raid so that we can spread more of this VTM love in some fashion. So we're gonna find some role player or something, or some video gamer that that deserves a little bit of the CoffeeCat Presents love. So thank you all so much for watching, and until then, next time, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And good night.